My name is Martha Easter Wells, and I've been a member for a little more than 2 years. UUFN is an inclusive community that nurtures spiritual and intellectual growth and fosters ethical and social responsibility. If you are a visitor, either on site or online, we are glad you are with us, and we invite you to stay after the service to get acquainted. We welcome your questions and look forward to getting to know you. If you are new or new-ish to UUFN, you are warmly invited to attend our Introduction to Unitarian Universalism class starting November 13 on Zoom, led by our minister, Reverend Sara. See your order of service for more information about this class, as well as other events, like the Green Team conversation on November 5. Later in the service today, we will take our Share the Plate offering as a way to care for the wider world. This month's Share the Plate recipient is Outfront, Minnesota. Over the past 36 years, Outfront, Minnesota has been a leader in LGBTQ justice work in our state. They are guided by the values of liberation and intersectional justice until full equality under the law and full equity in practice is realized. During the offering later, you may put cash or a check in the basket or donate online from our website, uunorthfield.org. If your check is for your pledge, simply write pledge in the memo line. There will also be instructions on the screen during the offertory time. An additional announcement about our service today. This time of year, people in many places hold rituals to remember those who have died, whether recently or long ago. This morning, we joined them in our service, honoring our beloved dead. If you brought a picture or other keepsake of someone who has died who you wish to honor today, there will be a time later on in the service when you will be invited to place it on the table here beneath the pulpit. After the service, the care team members and I will host an informal conversation circle downstairs for those who want a quieter space to continue stories and reflections. Again, welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Northfield.
I want things like that and other things. I want two brothers, one who laughs and one who sings. I hope the future brings a horse with wings. I wanna know the things they told me way back then were really so. I wanna make a little mark before I go. Not barely, just get by. I wanna fly.
Good morning, all. I am the Reverend Sara Smalley, she, her pronouns, and I serve this congregation as its minister. Our theme this month is the gift of heritage, and today is Remembrance Sunday, where we call to mind those who have gone before, family, friends, long ago ancestors, beloved pets, and more. In that spirit, our opening words are by Reverend Joan Javier Duval. They say that our ancestors are even numbered among the innumerable stars. They say that we are made of stardust. They say that our atoms vibrate with the energy unleashed all those billions of years ago. They say that same energy and that same stardust were passed down from the universe to all life, including human life. And for all these thousands of years, passing from one generation to the next is a heritage as strong and as ancient as the stars, a heritage given to our ancestors and given to us. May the strength of the ancestors encircle you and me and us. May the trust of the ancestors heal you and me and us as we lift up their memories today. Come, let us worship together.
The flaming chalice is the symbol of Unitarian Universalism. Each Sunday when we gather, we bring this symbol to life together. Please join me in speaking the words for the lighting of the chalice. Let us open our eyes to see what is beautiful. Let us open our minds to learn what is true. Let us open our hearts to love one another. Please rise, embody your spirit for our opening hymn, number 354, We Laugh, We Cry. We're going to sing verses 1, 3, and 4 today.
You may be seated. Each Sunday here at UUFN, we give thanks for lives overflowing with blessing, and we lift up hearts bruised by life's loss and suffering. We laugh, we cry, we make time and space for lighting candles, for quiet, for stillness, for personal reflection and prayer, for simply being present with it all. We have found a need to be together. Will you take a breath with me now? As we move into this time of reflection and connection. From Reverend Kristen Schmidt. Spirit of life and death, change and transformation, spirit that is always becoming, mystery beyond naming, closer than hands and feet, who calls us each beloved. We give thanks that today is set aside for us to remember not only our ancestors and saints, not only our family and friends and acquaintances and neighbors. We give thanks for this one day a year that bids us remember the entirety of humanity, those we knew and those we did not, those well remembered and those the world has forgotten. The whole history of conscious life that lived and died, that brought us to this era, this moment, this breath. And we give thanks for a day to be honest about death, to be real about the complex feelings that bubble up when people die, a day to remember that we are bound to all humanity, all of the souls, not by blood or rank or status, not by political party or religion, place of birth or culture, but by our common humanity, all of the souls, every single one, all sacred, all one, in the name of all that we find holy. Amen. We light our first candle as a blessing for the wider world, for all souls, every single one. For the souls in Palestine and the souls in Israel and the souls in Ukraine and the leaders around the world who wage war, may we sow peace. For the souls in Maine terrorized and grieving in the aftermath of the latest mass shooting. For all souls, a candle for all souls. We know too that the details of our daily lives are sacred and important. We now light a candle for the simple joys that are sustaining us. Candle in honor of the joys and sorrows we carry in our hearts, but that have not been spoken out loud, and we move into a time of silence. May the truth of your heart be reflected in these flames. Amen, and blessed be.
One purpose of the church is to encourage all who gather here to grow more generous in spirit and action. We now take an offering that allows us to exercise that all-important generosity of spirit, an offering that will support the work of this congregation and our Share the Plate recipient out front, Minnesota. Will the ushers please come forward?
Today, we give thanks for a day to be honest about death, to be real about the complex feelings that bubble up when people die, which means we're talking a lot about death today. And so I will trust that you will take care of yourselves as you need to. If you need to cry, cry. If you need to stare out the window for a while, stare out the window, whatever you need to do. Let's begin with a story, again from Reverend Joan Javier Duval. In the basement of the library where I went to seminary, you have to make your way through several tall bookcases and past the study carrels to the far wall to find the door to a small chapel. The chapel is very plain looking, with walls and floor made of stone and no windows. But in the center of it, behind the lectern, is a striking painted wooden panel. The chapel was formerly a Byzantine-style chapel, but it was renovated and refurbished to become much simpler. It is dedicated to the theologian Henry Nouwen, who taught at Yale. And so, painted on the side panels are the images of historical figures who influenced Henry Nouwen's life and theology. All the figures are looking in the direction of Jesus, who has a darker complexion and more indigenous-looking features than most depictions of him. There is Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther King Jr. and Teresa of Avila and Vincent van Gogh, among others. In both the Jewish and Christian traditions, people talk about the cloud of witnesses that surround us. This comes from a line in the Bible that says, "Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us." The wooden panel in the Nouwen Chapel depicts a cloud of witnesses that can serve as a reminder of people whose lives can inspire us. Reverend Joan ends with this: "I love imagining who is a part of this great cloud of witnesses for me and who is a part of the great cloud of witnesses for each and all of us. The great cloud of witnesses, we honor them today." I want to also share a story of my own that happened shortly after my mom's death in 2016, when I learned something important about what honoring ancestors actually means beyond paying lip service to their perfection. I was seeing a grief counselor and telling her all about the experiences I had scattering my mom's ashes in various places. First, at Banning State Park with my children, her beloved grandchildren, the flow of the river echoing the passing of generations one to another. Second, in Lake Superior, at the place she and I went to every year when I was a child. Third, with seminary colleagues at a little park in Chicago, so she was a part of me becoming a minister. The grief therapist listened with compassion, patiently holding silence while I cried and spoke reverently and with deep grief and deep gratitude for my mom. And then gently, but pointedly, in the way only a good grief therapist can, said something like this: What if the next to last time you scatter some of your mom's ashes, you tell her all the reasons you're angry with her? What if you yell at her? What if, this is how I hear the questions now, what if you trust that your relationship with her is strong enough to handle the truth that it was also complex? What if you throw off everything that hinders? And then, what if the last time you scatter her ashes becomes a time for the kind of love that comes after repair, the kind of love that touches eternity? It was a lot, and it was true. That grief therapist gave me permission to tell the truth, not just about the dead, but to the dead. She gave me permission to still have a growing, changing relationship with my mom. Our ancestors, our great cloud of witnesses, also get to be human. And to soften our hearts to that complexity opens us to healing. As poet Rick Field says, behind the hardness, there is fear. And if you touch the heart of the fear, you find sadness. And if you touch the sadness, you find the vast blue sky. It's scary and it's sad, but we are all longing to touch the vast blue sky. I want to also say, I know repair is not always possible with the living or the dead. There is no way to put a neat little bow on every relationship. Sometimes the harm is too great and the apology never comes. I know too that often part of grieving is trying to rewrite the past. We wish we would have done something differently, said something differently. We would do anything to change a moment or a relationship. Let us not add to the bruising throes of grief by beating ourselves up even more. And so with that said, there are those who are gone who we long to be in relationship still. Today, we name this great cloud of witnesses that surround us and tell a little of their story and their legacy. Grief can feel so isolating, but today we don't hold it alone. We'll have two parts to this honoring of the cloud of witnesses. The first will be sharing remembrances. In a moment, I invite you to pair up with a person to share a photo or memento if you brought one with you today, and a few notes about this. Let me explain how this will work. First and foremost, I want to encourage you all to share at whatever level you feel comfortable without feeling pressured to share more than that. And then simply listen deeply to the other person. Don't offer advice. Don't try to fix everything. Just listen to each other. If you didn't bring a photo or memento with you, of course, you can still fully participate in this. You can still share about important people to you who have died, friends, family, ancestors, pets. Those on Zoom will be able to unmute and share with each other. And if you were on Zoom and you weren't expecting this and you don't want to turn on your video because you're in your pajamas, that is just fine. For those in the sanctuary, in a moment, get up and move around just a little bit. This is going to be organic. I was going to say chaotic, but we'll just go with organic. And try to find someone to talk to who doesn't already know about the photo or the memory that you are going to share. So in other words, not a family member or your very best friend. Please also look around to make sure everyone is included. It's what we do here. If you have to be in a group of 3 to make sure no one is left alone, that is just fine as well. Please pay attention to how long you're speaking. You'll have a few minutes for this. Once both people have spoken, if you have extra time, you can continue to be in conversation, and then I will ring the bell when it is time to regather. Please join together to briefly share your stories and remembrances. Finish up in 1 minute. 1 minute. Finish your remembrances and find your way back to a seat, whether it's the one you had before or not. I loved being able to watch all of the smiles and also a couple of people looking for Kleenex boxes. I should have put more out today. To see you share your stories so enthusiastically, I hope it was a balm and a blessing for you. Now it is time to create our altar for the particular cloud of witnesses of those gathered here. I invite you to come forward in a moment whenever you feel ready. There doesn't have to be a line or any particular order. We have plenty of time, and a few people can be at the altar at once. You will not be speaking during this part. Just come up silently. Come to the front and place your memento on our altar if you have one, or if you did not bring something, we also have pens and paper here to make your own by writing down names of beloveds who have gone before. And then I invite you to drop a stone into the vase. Watch as it gently drifts down to join the others, knowing the grief we hold is unique and personal, and it is also a deeply shared human experience. While you are coming forward, I will be reading some poetry and Taylor will be playing some music. Those on Zoom can enter the names of those you are remembering today into the chat, and Martha will place a stone for you here in the sanctuary. All Souls by May Sarton. Did someone say that there would be an end, oh, an end to love and mourning? The cold, bleak voices of the early morning, when all the birds are dumb and in dark November, remember and forget, forget, remember. After the false night, warm, true voices wake. Voice of the dead that touches the cold living, through the pale sunlight once more gravely speak. Tell me again while the last leaves are falling, dear child, what has been once so interwoven cannot be unraveled. Mary Oliver, Heavy. That time I thought I could not go any closer to grief without dying, I went closer and I did not die. Surely God had his hand in this as well as friends. Still I was bent, and my laughter, as the poet said, was nowhere to be found. Then said my friend Daniel, brave even among lions, it's not the weight you carry, but how you carry it. Books, bricks, grief. It's all in the way you embrace it, balance it, carry it, when you cannot and would not put it down. So I went practicing. Have you noticed? Have you heard the laughter that comes now and again out of my startled mouth? how I linger to admire, admire, admire the things of this world that are kind and maybe also a little troubled. Roses in the wind, the sea geese on the steep waves, a love to which there is no reply. The Thing Is by Ellen Bass. The thing is to love life, to love it even when you have no stomach for it, and everything you've held dear crumbles like burnt paper in your hands, your throat filled with the silt of it. When grief sits with you, its tropical heat thickening the air, heavy as water, more fit for gills than lungs. When grief weighs you down like your own flesh, only more of it, you think, how can a body withstand this? Then you hold life like a face between your palms, a plain face, no charming smile, no violet eyes, and you say, yes, I will love you, I will take you again. From Meg Barnhouse. What do we become when we die? Stars, night, leaves, ash, dirt. Souls wandering to help those we wronged, the great breath of space and light and nothing. Think not just beyond this, but here and there, now and now. What do we become when we die? Quiet, moving, bodiless, earthy, hope. Mary Oliver in Blackwater Woods. Look, the trees are turning their own bodies into pillars of light, are giving off the rich fragrance of cinnamon and fulfillment. The long tapers of cattails are bursting and floating away over the blue shoulders of the ponds, and every pond, no matter what its name is nameless now. Every year, everything I have ever learned in my lifetime leads back to this. The fires and the black river of loss, whose other side is salvation, whose meaning none of us will ever know. To live in this world, you must be able to do three things: to love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones, knowing your own life depends on it, and when the time comes to let it go, to let it go. The last reading is one I would like you to do with me. This is by Rabbi Roland Gittleson. Your refrain is, we remember them. In the rising of the sun and in its going down, we remember them. In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we remember them. In the opening of buds and in the rebirth of spring, we remember them. In the rustling of leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we remember them. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we remember them. When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember them. When we are lost and sick at heart, we remember them. When we have joys we yearn to share, we remember them. So as we live, they too shall live, for they are now a part of us as we remember them. This altar we have created is heavy with grief and gratitude and laden with bittersweet memories. It is held together with love. One more poem for us all by Jan Richardson. This is Blessing for the Brokenhearted. It begins with this quote from Henry David Thoreau. There is no remedy for love but to love more. Let us agree for now that we will not say the breaking makes us stronger, or that it is better to have this pain than to have done without this love. Let us promise we will not tell ourselves time will heal the wound when every day our waking opens it anew. Perhaps for now, it can be enough to simply marvel at the mystery of how a heart so broken can go on beating, as if it were made for precisely this, as if it knows the only cure for love is more of it, as if it sees the heart's sole remedy for breaking is to love still, as if it trusts that its own persistent pulse is the rhythm of a blessing we cannot begin to fathom, but that will save us nonetheless. Please remain seated as we sing together, There is a Love.
There is a love holding me. There is a love holding all that I love. There is a love holding all. I rest in this love. There is a love holding us. There is a love holding all that we love. There is a love holding all. We rest in this love. We rest in this love.
The love that holds us holds all that we love, all that we've lost, all that remains, held by the same love. But here's where it gets tricky. To touch this grief, to touch that vast blue sky, and then learn how to live on this earth. Loss is everywhere. Sometimes it seems there is no facet of our lives that grief does not touch. But we can do this. We know both joy and sorrow, and we know we don't have to be afraid of either. For there is no remedy for love but to love more. Our hearts hurt, our hearts heal. We laugh, we cry. The thing is, says Ellen Bass, the thing is to love life, to love it even when you have no stomach for it, to hold life like a face between your palms, a plain face, no charming smile, no violet eyes, and you say, yes, I will take you, I will love you again. Please rise in body or spirit for our closing hymn, number 6, Just as Long as I Have Breath.
Just as long as I have breath, my last answer yes and why. Though it may not be my way, still it will my be shame.
You may be seated. After the service today, a few options. First, if you have a remembrance up here, please remember to take it with you. And I invite everyone, as you so wish, to come up reverently and see this cloud of witness that we have created together today. For those who are ready for some coffee hour conversation, you can stay here in the sanctuary. For those who wish for a quieter space, again, Martha and other care team members will meet you downstairs for a time of continued conversation and reflection. Those on Zoom may continue to stay to share stories as well. And now our closing words. An excerpt from A House Called Tomorrow by Alberto Rios. You are not 15 or 12 or 17. You are 100 wild centuries, bringing with you in every breath and in every step everyone who has come before you. Look back only for as long as you must, then go forward into the history you will make. Be good, then better. Write books, cure disease, make us proud, make yourself proud. And those who came before you, when you hear thunder, hear it as their applause. May it be so. We join together in the words for the extinguishing of the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Please rise and body your spirit with your hands over your heart, holding the hand of one next to you or whatever posture is most comfortable. We sing words of blessing one to another.
May the Lord, thy sun, shine upon you. All love surround you, and the pure, pure light that's within you guide your way home. May the Lord, thy sun, shine upon you. All love surround you, and the pure, pure light that's within you guide your way home.
Go in peace.